Hello, everyone. Welcome to another brief podcast by Erin Brito Analysis. Um, Today, October the 1st, 11 p.m., we are witnessing a history. Iran has launched a fearless attack against Israel. Iran never been a country of taking, was in war for decades with Iraq, witnessed the coming and going of Saddam Hussein. During this period, Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait, was invaded many times by the United States, went from being a successful, rich country to a country with many shanty towns. But in common with Iran, they have a massive heroin addiction problem. Iran is not the Arab leader that it proposes to be. They have many social problems, severe addiction, many foreigners incarcerated, namely Afghanistan, many refugees from Arab countries who don't have any rights, not even to attend school, and who are also castigated by ethnic and religious discriminations. They have ethnic conflicts, the Persians and the Arabs, the ethos and narrative of us versus them, and who is better, who is not. And above all, they have this narrative that they are isolated in the Arab world because this XYZ government are puppets of the West. I feel that this narrative is very similar to the narrative of certain extreme groups in Arab lands and even Afghanistan, Al Qaeda. They also felt that governments in the region were puppet masters. Today, with the missiles, it's not about puppet masters, it's about another show of force of Iran in a position that is not the same position as 50 or 60 years ago. Now is a weaker country. The young men of Iran are fleeing by the hundreds, by the thousands, by the millions. And they'll continue to do so as long as there's opportunity to do so. Likewise, Arab young men in Jordan, in Syria, they want to come to Europe. They want freedom. They want to feel integrated. The issues that Iran has and Syria had is the narrative that white descendants, or the whites, like people like Assad were referred, were causing severe oppression in Arab countries, and they were puppets of the West. If this is the ideological reality in Iran, around Iran, and how Iran masses and different poles of Iran media see the matter, the existential matter, I ask, how can then Iran right now be an ideological force for Arab world? It's not. If we recall the ISIS conflict, the Caliphate, we had minorities like the Kurdish showing force in Iraq, in Turkey, and in parts of Iran. Iranians are refugees for decades on end in the US and in Europe. This concept of Iran is not what it used to be. If this concept of Iran is not what it used to be, how can we say that today's show of force is a reflection of unity of the Arab world? It is not. It just shows that Iran is feeling more and more isolated. I recall to you that Iran hasn't asked one of these 252 nations, Arab nations who proposed the recent peace treaty, to use their nuclear power to bomb European countries or bomb Israel. I report to you that Iranians have been training and studying nuclear science for decades, and until now nobody tried to blow Israel nuclearly, like Russia is threatening. Iran is not in position to commit a mass murder. Iran is not in position to commit a mass ethnic cleansing like Iraq Saddam Hussein did to the Kurdish. This is just the beginning of a conflict that will determine a new Iran, not through revolutionary means, but through alliances. Because whichever agents of peace and whoever wants peace in the Middle East and had a problem before with Iran, right now cannot get into a conflict with Iran. Whoever felt that sanctions were the right way to go, right now, predicting that Iranians will be impoverished, they will be pushed to move to other people's countries, other Arab countries, to reach Europe. They will be looking at ways how they can contain further destabilization in Iran. I report to you that Iran has been a market of migration for people who are looking for means of survival, especially from Afghanistan, and not always legal means of survival, sometimes joining proxy groups, Hezbollah and other groups. So this idea that Iran as a country can control and support this military attack that took place today against Israel, and that other pocket groups that can move easily from Iran to other Central Asia countries like Afghanistan cannot also start mobilizing efforts in this sense, either because of religion, which I doubt would most likely because of a sense of honor and alliance with the pledge of Hamas, then we have to open our eyes, because now we will see more ancient ways of living taking over communities and taking over roots. So I always emphasize supply chains, and I believe that supply chains in the Middle East between the Middle East and Central Asia have to be safeguarded by the United Nations, because now more than ever these terror groups who've been on the side of Iran, they will want to take over these routes. They will want to make a name for themselves. They want to get a revival ticket like ISIS pocket groups. They will want to gather against this notion that NATO is behind Israel, that America is behind Israel, and galvanizing forces to contain such movement is the best way to go. I'm not talking just about the traditional view that American interests or Western Europe's interests will be in question, but the view that even what sustains Arab communities like the Iran government and the Iraq government, either routes or means of oil production, exploration, farming, have to be secured. So the international community should be looking at providing peace corps and private companies, military companies to Arab countries, because all these pockets of making money will be now an asset for any group that will want to make a name for themselves and show ideological alliance with the groups Iran purports to support, or even to further themselves into Iran. I have live the Iran International channel Iranians are truly 50-50. Some look celebrating, some are scared, some are crying, and the images are just of missiles exploding in the air, of a struggle, anxiety that is well reflected in what Iran has been eating itself, thinking that would come the day of redemption, and having to show force and say enough is enough. Now, how will the Arab world see the United States, America, defending Israel, considering that America's oil policies are dependent of the industrial boom of Central Asia, like the United States MOD reports so much state that China is, and other Asian countries will require a lot of oil to develop themselves. How will they see America's international interest and international policies? It will take a new turn. Now they'll understand that of all the Arab countries that they have been taken as theirs and mates, might not be quite so. Let's just look at the countries in North Africa: Egypt, Tunisia, Algeria especially, who have been receiving substantial funding from the United States to develop nuclear energy. Let's look at other countries that have been receiving United States financial aid. Are they in position to say, I'm unhappy the United States is defending Israel? They might not be, because if something happens to them, they might have already signed a document or received funding, something taken, something given, that would make the United States take the same position, either by training their military or by buying their oil. So let's not pretend that Israel being defended by the United States is not a position that many Arab countries in North Africa have not already made themselves available for. The question now is what will come out of this. Some are saying it's a regime change, but can you really change a cultural regime, a historical regime, an international regime? I believe that the right solution is to provide international military support to the pockets where forces will now try to take advantage of these thinkers further into Iran and neighborings of Iran and provoke further terrorist disturbance for their own gain. Thank you for listening. Have a fantastic week, and keep the Palestinians, the Israelis, the Iranians, and everyone in conflict, the Ukrainians and the Russians, in your prayers. Bye bye.